I like to explain you everything I know about koi. What a better place to start than in Japan, the birthplace of koi. And one of the first things I start to do today is look at one of the best mud ponds from Anade Koi Farm. Welcome to the School of Koi. The first thing I noticed when I arrived in Japan for my koi trip is that Japan is so organized. The train stations are organized, the street is organized, it's very clean. The Japanese are very friendly. You see that all over the place. They will help you wherever they can. Of course I was there for koi, but the first 2 days we went to Tokyo and its surroundings. The Japanese are very hard workers. Sometimes during the day, during their long, hard-working day, they like to go to a park. And there are beautiful parks in the middle of Tokyo. When you walk around in a park like this, it's difficult to imagine that you're in the middle of a really big city. Going out in Tokyo is also fun. This is one of the busiest streets in the evening, Takashita Street. It's really fun to watch. And some of the bars in Tokyo are so small they only seat 6 people. And the contrast is cool. So you visit a small bar in the evening and you can visit a temple in the morning. This image to me summed up Japan in one picture. People wearing traditional clothes, boys and girls going to school or on a school trip, and people holding their phone, where the traditional world meets the modern world. We also went a little bit south of Tokyo, where there's a national park that you can visit, and on top of a mountain there are some temples, some shrines that you can visit, but also have this beautiful view over Mount Fuji, way back in the distance. We were fortunate enough to witness this sunset. Then it was time for koi, the reason why I went to Japan. We went to Niigata, the birthplace of koi, using the bullet trains, the Shinkansen. And already when we got there the first day, the first afternoon visiting Japan, I got to visit the mountain area where the mud ponds are situated, where you can see the rice fields and the mud ponds. We run up to one of the highest mud ponds in the area, a mud pond called Heavenly Pond from Annandale Koi Farm. Mr. Omo decided to play a trick on me. I suspect he ordered the fish to splash me.
You play with fish, you get wet.
After that, I visited around 50 koi breeders over the course of the next week. I have shot so much video material. And of course my channel is called The School of Koi. And I wouldn't be the School of Koi if I wasn't educating. So in the upcoming videos, I will show you images from Japan, from beautiful koi, from mud ponds, from filtration that you can see in Japan. And of course, because I'm the School of Koi, I will explain a lot about the koi. Not just about the koi, but also the koi keeping itself. So don't forget to subscribe, because you'll get a lot of free knowledge about koi. When you visit the koi breeders, you usually go in these glass houses with large pools with lots and lots of fish in there. There's so much fish per pool you can't even imagine. But the breeders aren't feeding the koi in these pools. That's why they don't need that much of filtration. When you visit one of the breeders, then it's time to look in the basins and see if you can find a koi you like. Many of the visitors in Niigata are actually koi wholesalers. So they buy koi in Niigata and they sell them when they are back overseas. Of course, it all starts with the breeders. I already mentioned that Japanese are very friendly. So they will help you where they can. But make no mistake, they are businessmen. For them this is business. They don't give away their koi for free, and neither should they. There were times we visited a breeder and we entered the premises and it was so busy that we couldn't even pass each other on the narrow ways where you can walk. I nearly fell in 2 or 3 times myself. I was glad I didn't, because I was carrying a lot of expensive camera equipment. And usually when you see it's this busy, you take a quick look around and then you come back next day. So you visit the next breeder. One of the biggest breeders that you can visit in the area is Marusai. What you see here is only half of their biggest koi house. And the koi that you see in there are 70, 80 cm. They're really big. And there's many of them and good quality. Marusai is also one of the best breeders to get Hi Utsuri from. So orange koi with black markings. They're actually black with orange markings. That's almost worth another video. What I like there is that inside it's a lot of noise, but when you walk outside you can truly experience the peace and calm of the Niigata area. How many koi are still out there in these mud ponds? And what quality would they have? Only a breeder will know. This is a Showa I purchased. It was a little bit of a fast purchase. It was not an expensive koi. And about purchasing this koi at Marusai Koi Farm, I will make a separate video. Marusai Koi Farm is too big to just show in 2 minutes. The mud ponds are not always situated high in the mountains. The whole area is covered with rice paddies and mud ponds, right in between the houses where the breeders and their families live. Don't fall asleep when you're there, because the trip is truly part of the experience. You constantly drive through the beautiful mountain area. One of the breeders that also stood out to me was Yamamatsu Koi Farm. We just went in, the first fish that I could see were already stunning. Nearly any of these fish would be an asset to almost all ponds worldwide. They're beautiful fish. The red and the black markings really stood out on top of the white. What I also noticed is that there was a lot of noise. In all the houses of all the breeders there's a lot of noise. Why is that? Well, because the returns after the filtration are always above water to get the aeration going as much as they can. I was glad at Yamamatsu the pathways were a little bit wider, so I wasn't afraid to fall in here. What also stood out is that's a nice and clean koi house. The further back I walked, the bigger the koi got. Nice quality. I liked it. I didn't have enough time to look around. I wanted to stay there longer, but we had to go to the next breeder already. Awesome white. Awesome red. We then went up to the breeder called Yagenji. Yagenji is situated high up in the mountains. This view, this breathtaking view, is what I hoped to see when I got to Japan. So how does that work? You go to Japan, you look inside the koi house, what the breeder has in koi, and you pick out a few koi. Well, at Yagenji Koi Farm, on the outside of the farm, they have extra ponds where they put in these nets, and the koi that you purchase are put in these nets. These nets are all marked, so the breeder knows who purchased the koi and where they have to go to. So here they are kept for a week or several weeks, where they are prepared for transport. Then the preparation starts. The fish don't get to eat for a couple of weeks. This will make sure that their gut is empty. When they're not eating, they're also not producing ammonia. The biggest advantage of not feeding koi is that they also almost don't produce any waste products. The biggest advantage of that is that koi are shipped to the rest of the world in a plastic bag, with water in a plastic bag, in a carbon box. If they would produce too much waste materials, then they would poison themselves in the water that they are transported in. Nowadays the koi are so well prepared that transport is not an issue anymore. They can handle it really well. Once they arrive at their destination, the koi dealer will usually put them in quarantine for 6 weeks. During this time you can go and see them. Normally, if you want to buy Nisai, koi of 2 years of age or older, around December, January is the best time to visit the koi dealer. Then he will have the new stocks in house. Then you will have the first pick to select the new koi that you want in your own pond. When you're after tosai, small fish that are maximum of 1 year old, well 1.5 years old almost, usually around April, May, June is the best time to visit the koi dealers. Then they will have the fresh stocks that will come in from Japan. When you buy a koi in December, all dealers will say, okay, come back in May and collect your koi then, because then the water of your pond is warmed up enough to release your koi safely. This time of year they also harvest the tosai, of course, a small fish. They are so used to eating as much as they can that they're literally on top of each other, hoping that you throw in some food. Marusai koi farm is situated really nice in the mountains. One actually passes by here quite often. On one side of the road is this beautiful waterfall, the other side of the road is Marusai koi farm. Visit Niigata. Well, awesome.
Daar gaan we binnenkijken. Geen slechte omgeving om kooi te gaan zoeken hier. Dat is toch mooi?
Then we went on to see some gold bars. Make no mistake, these gold bars are 1 meter in length. Yamabuki at its best. I was really impressed by these. One of my highlights of the trip was actually a breeder called Kano. The Goshikis I've seen in the past, I think Kano is one of the best Goshiki breeders in the world. So I had my mind set for a Goshiki of Kano. I will make a separate video about the selection of this specific koi. Is it most expensive koi in Japan? No, absolutely not. But for my budget, it was really high end. I was in love the second I saw her. I also really felt privileged that I could live thank the breeder for producing this koi.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Hi,
To Nisai Goshiki.
Hi.
Nisai Goshiki no to kun.
Hi.
Arigato.
Hi, arigato. Hi, arigato.
Wow.
Good doing, good doing.
Wow.
The breeder is very kind, and he was also kind enough to explain me something about the koi. And on our way back from that farm, we came past this view. Breathtaking. When I think of Niigata, when I think about koi, for the past 30 years I've been keeping koi. That image I wanted to see. So what's it like to visit Niigata? Well, you go to a hotel, you get picked up by a car, and you drive around to the different breeders to see whether they have the fish of your liking. One of the longer trips we did was to Nagoshi Koi Farm. The breeder is a fun guy, lots of humor, but he's also serious. He has beautiful koi. We were even able to select some tategoi. Now, to state that you can select tategoi is a really difficult statement. There's a lot of discussion about it. The true meaning of tategoi is that the koi will get better in the future. This breeder told us that we selected 2 tategoi. I will make a separate video to explain a little bit about what tategoi is, what the meaning is, and how you can start identifying what could be a tategoi.
Goede glans, mooie verdeelde kroon. Klein beetje Maruzoma Q aan de achterkant, goed afgeleid.
Yes, this awesome view is also Japan. Can you see nice koi in Japan, you think? Well, just look at this sanko. The sumi is dense, really pitch black.
81
2
お前スプレーうまいよ。
スプレーヤーと呼んで。
スプレーや。
これぐらいしか役に立てません。
かわいい顔。顔がちっちゃい。
あ、あれ、ポニョみたいでしょ。
おたふくやん。
そう。
かわいい。あの顔好きやわ。本当だ。ちょっともうちょい往復ビンタで大きくしたらなもん。これ、往復
かわいいね。ポニョ、魚の方じゃんかよ。こんにちは。
オッケー。
ブルノさんうまいな。袋の持ち方とかも、俺そんな絞ってる暇ないけど。
One of the last breeders I was able to visit was Shinoda. Besides koi, we also had a little surprise. There was a big cow there, so I decided to walk up to it and see it a little bit better. I was glad to see it was tied up really well, because it was really big. They use these bulls in a kind of sumo wrestling competition for bulls. I've been told that no bull gets hurt in the process. The Shinoda farm in itself will be a different video. We went back, passing the rice paddies again.
Ja, check.
The food in Japan is also amazing. You'll love it. Just sitting in Japan, well, you have a choice. Sitting on the floor or at a bar stove. Well, I've made my choice. Sometimes you see things you didn't expect. Look at the body on this kohaku. We learned it was 4 years old.
Ik denk 4, 5.
I will make a separate video about Sekiguchi Showa. What a magnificent Showa. I've seen Issa Showa and Dainichi Showa, and Sekiguchi I really liked as well. And I saw some big Showas of Sekiguchi also. So don't forget to subscribe, you'll see a lot more videos and learn a lot more about koi. You've seen this pond before at the Maruhiro Koi Farm. Well, we have too. I think we drove by 6 times that week. It is so amazing to watch. All these koi of 70, 80 centimeters, 1 meter in length. It is the most photographed koi pond, I think, in the world. It's truly amazing. In a later video I'll also explain about this Kikukuryu, so this orange and grey koi. I intended to buy it. This little koi is amazing. At the very last minute though, I decided not to buy it. There was a good reason for it. In a later video I will tell you why. And of course I'd like to end the video as we started it. But now I asked the fish to splash Omo. Luckily, Mr. Omo has a good sense of humor. Of course there will be a video where you can see the selection of these Shiro Utsuri by Mr. Omo. And we will play a small game. Which out of 20 Shiro Utsuris will be the best one? The breeder will answer it himself. And after an impressive week, I had to go back to Tokyo. During that trip I was contemplating about what I've seen. I was very impressed, not only by the koi, but also by the Japanese. They're kind, they're friendly, they will help you wherever they can, and it's very clean, very well organized. I'd love to visit Japan again. And in the meantime, I have shot so much video. With all these hours of video that I've shot, I can help explain everything to you, what happens in Japan, how they do filtration, how filtration should be done, and give you the scientific background about filtration and keeping koi healthy. I hope you like this video and subscribe to my channel. I will then try to teach you as much as I can about koi. Perhaps one day you can also fulfill your dream about visiting Japan. Visit Niigata, the birthplace of koi. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, perhaps this other video is also to your liking. See you next time at the School of Koi.